Hey everybody, this is my review for The Master, which I saw on Friday evening. And I'm just going to say before I begin this review that this is going to be a very difficult film to talk about. Probably more difficult than any other review I think I've done before. And the reason being is because I feel almost unqualified to talk about it because I only saw it once. This is like the kind of film where you can't expect to have any immediate opinion about it the first time you see it. It's just like watching a film made by Kubrick or Wells or Bergman, anybody like that. You've got to see it multiple times, and the film deserves to be viewed many times before you can even develop any sort of cohesive opinion about it. But I'll just say this. I'm going to do my best, the best I can. But let me just say that as I was watching the movie, every possible emotion you could feel at one time, you feel while you're watching this movie. What I mean by that is that the film is extremely esoteric, and there are times when it feels so bizarre, so strange, and then other times when it becomes hilarious, it becomes a comedy, and it's so silly you don't know whether you're supposed to be taking it seriously. And then at other times, it's just very creepy and disturbing, and you don't know how you're supposed to be feeling about that. But the one consistency through the entire film is that it's extremely hypnotic, and it's a stunning piece of work. And for me, no question, this is easily the best film I have seen this year. I mean, way above, leaps and bounds above any other ones. And if I've probably said this, well, I know I've said this before, but Paul Thomas Anderson is my favorite working director. And I have such great admiration for him, no matter what. Even the films that I'm not crazy about that he does, I mean, I respect him immensely, and the same goes for this film. I guess the best thing for me to do is just to start with the basic premise. And the story is about Joaquin Phoenix's character, Freddie, who is a World War II veteran. He's just gotten out of the war, and he's trying to make, just like every other American at that time, trying to make sense of a post-war society in the early 1950s. And I love the 1950s. It's one of my favorite decades to talk about and learn about in the 20th century because it's so sugary sweet, but yet there's such darkness underneath it that's just really seething and wanting to get through. And I just find that so interesting that they're trying to cover up all this controversy with this very porcelain, twinkly, sweet exterior, and it's just not working. And this film really brings that out when talking about the 1950s. But Joaquin Phoenix's character, I'm just going to say Freddie, his character Freddie, comes across a man named, well, I can't remember his name right now. But anyway, he's referred to for the most part as the Master. And this is played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, who is this very, very composed, charismatic charmer of a man. And he has just a really huge presence, a lot like Orson Welles, actually. And he is the creator of a sort of theology, a theory that is loosely based on Scientology. Now, it doesn't outright state anything about Scientology, but you can see ideas from it and themes. But the focus of the film is primarily on these two characters and in their relationship. And I find that really interesting. And you see the evolvement of Paul Thomas Anderson as a director, but also as a storyteller. You notice in his first films like Boogie Nights and Magnolia, things like that, it's much more of an ensemble piece. You have all these little different stories going on at once. And then you've got all this really great direction. Those films are a lot more about the bravura of, his style, his direction, as it kind of binds all of these little stories together. And the characters in those films are kind of underdeveloped in a lot of ways. And the later you go into watching his films, the more mature he becomes as a filmmaker, the more that the film focuses more on a primary character. And he mastered that with There Will Be Blood. I think that film is a masterpiece, his magnum opus. And I mean, I don't want to say that I don't want to talk about The Master like I know so much about it, but from just seeing it the first time, I can't say that it quite reaches the level of There Will Be Blood in terms of character development and complexity. I think that I wish I could have seen more from the characters. I wish they had been a little bit more developed. But that being said, these characters are fascinating to watch. And for me, the best thing about The Master is the relationship between Hoffman and Phoenix. And because, I mean, there's so much in these two films that are quite identical. There Will Be Blood and The Master, and particularly with the themes. So many of them are almost identical. This need for, this greedy need for capitalism and all of that, but also the theme of the master and the protege, the son and the father, and their dependence on each other, mankind's dependence on violence, the need for attention, the need for sensation, etc. And this relationship is so cool because Phoenix himself, I mean, this guy is basically the man, he's basically a representation of mankind in its most primitive state. A very violent, manic, pretty much insane character, very physical. And then at the opposite end of the spectrum, you have Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's this very composed, very intelligent man. But it's almost disturbing how close these two are together, how similar they are, how needy they are. Their need to draw these very fine, easy conclusions from the world. And it's really interesting to watch. And I think what ties this film together, of course, yes, it's their relationship, but it's also, I mean, what I got from the film is that that's what the world is. It's about people, human beings, trying to reach conclusions about the world, a lot like Joaquin Phoenix's character. I mean, he sees Philip Seymour Hoffman as this wonderful maestro, this great man who has this new theology, this new concept called the cause, and he thinks it's going to answer all of his problems and return, or not return, but create a perfect state of mankind. But of course, Philip Seymour Hoffman is he's everything that he's talking about is a hoax. None of it is real. He pretty much makes it up as he goes along. But he does it really, really well, and he conveys it very well. But mankind, that's what we want. We want to find some sort of security, a belief in something, even though it may be completely implausible. And Paul Thomas Anderson uses these themes and these ideas basically, and he's observing them from a very cold, distant point. I mean, the camera here is very, very still, very static, and it's like he's observing human beings as though they're in a petri dish or something like that. He says, "This is kind of how we are," but he goes about it in such an interesting way. As I said before, there's so many different things going on in the film in terms of emotion and things like that, but the way that he inverts them and blurs them together is what's so fascinating, because he makes things like death, murder, and things like that seem kind of funny and hilarious, and then he makes hilarity seem tragic. So he does all of these very ironic things and brings them together, and in this very, very hypnotic film. And I really, really loved it. And I cannot wait to see it again. And if you are a film lover, you have to see this movie, no question about it. As long as you're not too tied to the Hollywood system, the Hollywood style of storytelling, because this one, as I said, is very, very different than what most people are used to. But again, if you love Paul Thomas Anderson and you really are interested in film, this is one that you cannot miss. And as I said before, I can't wait to see it again. So you should see it and then see it again and let me know what you think about it. I'm sorry if this review is a little unorthodox, but I can't really help it. But yeah, that's my review, and I'll see you guys next time.